coalitions. And I'm here today, as always, with my lovely co host, Valerie Jean Blakely. We have a new tech person, Miss Angelica Vincent, behind the scenes. And today we are here to recap and review some important issues that have happened in the past few weeks, and just lay our feelings about it on the line and give our analysis of what we think is needed, what is good, and what still needs to be done. Thank you so much for always being here with me, Valerie Jean. I appreciate you so much, and I'll let you take it from there.
Thank you, Nicole, and really, really grateful for Angelica for being our tech person today, and working it all out. It's we're glad to be live this week. It's been a couple weeks of bad tech, so we're really, really happy to have worked it out and be back with you all
Whew.
today. And we're having a really, really important conversation. We've been we're going to talk about what's happening in East Palestine on the ground. We're going to talk about the federal water infrastructure. We're going to talk about the Detroit Lifeline plan to water affordability. And we're going to tell everybody what they can do to get ready for World Water Day next week. So it's really, really important. Watch all the way to the end, my friends. And we're going to jump right into it because it's a short show. Nicole, we have been, haven't we? We've been hearing from folks on the ground. We were supposed to have a person from East Palestine, a resident from East Palestine, Ohio, on our show today. And she called us and she's so sick that she cannot. Well, there's a few things, right? There's an internet and a cell phone blackout in
Blackout,
East
yeah.
Palestine for the residents. They're having Palestine. They're having a heck of a time getting anything out. So if she wanted to be on our Water Wednesday show today, she was going to have to leave town to do it. And she was too
And I
sick to
don't
leave
want
her
to,
house.
I want our viewers also to understand on that point you just made that this isn't like a tower is damaged, the communications department is shut down.
No, it
This
is
is
a
a
government
literal,
blackout.
deliberate government blackout so that these people cannot sincerely express what is happening to them
And show what
from
is
this
going
train
on.
derailment.
Yep. Yeah,
Yes.
she was going to have to leave the area, and she was too sick to do it. And so our hearts are really, really with her and her family. And we're hoping that we'll be able to have her on next week, that she gets better. But when I started talking to her and her neighbors, I mean, this one lady was talking about, she's been living in a hotel, right? She's had to leave. She moved away with her kids, and she's been, she literally started a GoFundMe so that she could survive through this and get her kids out of the because she was like a mile away from where the train derailed. So she had to go home. She went home for just to grab some things. And the walls are literally boiling in her house. She said that was in there for maybe 5 minutes to grab her stuff and leave. But from the time that she moved out, which was the day the derailment happened with her kids, and now that she came back, her walls are melting. They are boiling. Boiling. That's what's happening on the ground, East Palestine, Ohio. And when
That's
you
just
see
the minor things that are
these
happening.
right, well, but that should tell you how bad it is. Right?
Yes.
Like, and she's like, I'm never going to be able to bring my kids back here. Like, she's literally going to lose her home that she owned. Single mom, owned her home. She's never going to be able to sell it. She's
And
devastated.
just imagine that concept. I'm a single mom. I do not own a home. Imagine how hard she had to work as a single parent with children to take care of to purchase
Yeah.
her own home. And she's going to lose it. And this company, thus far, I haven't seen any ramifications for this company. And this is not the first time that they've done this.
No, it's not. It's not. As a matter of fact, it seems to be happening pretty often. And when we
Yes.
looked at the situation here in Detroit, they roll through Detroit on the same raggedy railroads that they do
Right
in
past
Ohio.
my
So it's
house.
right. So that's something that, as Detroiters, but people everywhere, we're really going to have to fight to hold people accountable. That fight's probably going to have to happen in the streets, because certainly they're not going to
Yes.
legislate. They're
I
not going to
think all our
literally
fights have to
legislate
go to the
holding
street.
companies accountable, right? They're not going to do that. God forbid they actually do that. So that's going to
And
happen in the
lose some
streets,
of
and it's
their
on
rich
all of us.
lobbying money that they get. Of course not. I
That's
mean,
what I'm
and
saying.
that's a very frightening to think about for me particularly. And I want our viewers to understand, because I know a lot of our viewers are in Detroit. When I say that if something like that were to happen here in Michigan along, or in Detroit along the railroad track, I live probably less than a mile. I
You do.
literally can walk from, I can walk 5 blocks from my house and be at the railroad track
Right.
in 2 different directions because it
And you
runs
know
in a
they're
slant.
carrying bomb trains. You know that they're carrying
Oh yeah.
chemicals
Oh
and
yeah.
petrol. Yes, they are. You know that
I
they are.
just looked
I've
at a
seen them.
train pass on the tracks the other day. I was out and about, and literally I'm looking at the train. I'm like, it's nothing but tankers on here. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
Well, and you have to wonder, you have to not wonder, you have to understand that if there's a whole like internet and cell phone blackout in the area, that's very
They
intentional.
know they
And
did
they're trying
something
to
wrong.
squash a lot of the information coming out, really trying to squash a lot of the information coming out. If people want to put out information, they
Yeah.
literally have to leave town. So people need to understand that we're the only ones who are going to save us. We're the only ones who's going to look out for us, and we're going to have to look out for each other. And this is definitely a fight that's going to happen in the streets, my friends. We're going to have to organize.
I guess the only way, because they need to not only see that we are serious and willing to do what it takes, but also they need to see the numbers of people
Mm-hmm.
that come out to the street. Everybody, first of all, lobbying is good. It's a place for it. But they're not going to let
They're
500
not
people
going to
come in to
legislate these
lobby, first of all.
corporations. They're not.
And they're not going to legislate the corporations.
Two peas in a pod. Um, so we wanted folks to know that. And when you see a GoFundMe, and we'll move on after this, but if you see a GoFundMe from somebody staying in a hotel and they lived in East Palestine or Palestine, and you're able to help them, please help them. Please,
Yes.
if there's anything that you could do, they really, really need help. This woman and
And to the
her neighbors, they can't
residents of
go
East
home.
Palestine,
They need
to
help.
the residents there, I want to say, if you're watching this broadcast, if you can connect with somebody who watches this broadcast, let them know. Or if you connect with somebody in East Palestine, let them know. If they send us their GoFundMe information, we will post it on our People's Water Board page. We will post it in our social media platform, and we will make sure that it's attached to this video as well.
I actually have a list of the GoFundMe's from the residents that I've been talking to. So we'll get those to you throughout our social media so that folks can help, including
Yeah.
this single lady, the single mom that gave us her story. And
Can you
I hope that we're going
imagine
to be able to pass
your walls
her
are
walls are
boiling?
melting.
That's
She has
something when
pictures
you
of
hear
it.
it, you immediately think of a horror movie,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And this is this person's life.
Hmm.
And I know how painful it is to have to uproot your kids from all they've ever known. Like, this is not, there's so many facets to the repercussions of what has happened with this
Right. You
train
know
derailment. It's
firsthand
not
because you were
just
displaced by Katrina. You know firsthand.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
With your
And
children. You
it's
were
just
displaced with your children.
horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of horrible and nightmares, you want to talk about the federal water infrastructure?
Wow. Okay. So I know
Let's give them
you
a
know,
serious analysis too, because they not
as
giving. Let's
viewers,
give. Yeah.
it's hard. You know what? I'm going to be honest with our viewers. A lot of times when things are really devastating, I try to bring some type of humor into it, because it's like, we'll laugh to keep from crying.
For
When I
sure.
say our federal government makes me want to do that every day, it does. Like, I'm trying to figure out what branch of our federal government is actually doing what they're supposed to do for the people. And I
You
haven't
know.
figured it out yet.
Yeah.
Because the CIA, I don't think they work just for all people. They focus on a certain dynamic. But like, our federal, our Congress, our Senate people, I'm just gonna be honest with you, they are not looking out for us like that. There are
No.
few scragglers in the group that are like, I'm gonna do what I need to do for the people. but the majority of them are just worrying about collecting funds from the lobbyists and the big corporations.
And then when it comes to
And
water infrastructure, that's the one thing that the entire country needs. Like right now, we got to start right now, right
yes,
now. It has to be done. Bullshitting on it is putting people's lives at stake. Literally,
not their
you're talking
lives,
about
so they're not worried
generations.
about it. Right, but
Yeah.
they're not worried about it because it's not their lives or their grandkids' lives or their kids' lives. But
Mm-mm.
I know a lot of viewers who are very, very uh involved in the news and in issues around their city have probably heard that all of these federal dollars are supposed to be coming in for infrastructures and water infrastructure in particular. But I found several articles in my research where I've tried to find exactly, particularly an article on funds that are coming in specifically from our Congress or our federal government that focuses particularly on lead service line removal and replacement, that focuses on making sure that the
Which is
pipes,
important.
particularly to the residents' home, is fixed as well. Because what I've noticed is a pattern. When funding comes down, it's yes, we need to fix this, but we'll fix this up to this point. So oh yeah, we're gonna replace lead service lines, but we're not gonna replace the damaged lines that go from our system to your household. So you're
Right.
still gonna have lead
I mean,
issues.
that's the
And
thing.
that's something
The
that we've
whole thing.
seen.
It
It's
has to
the whole thing. The whole
strategically.
thing needs to be replaced.
Yeah, no,
And
them
the thing
nitpicking at
is,
just lead service lines, even though that's important, if you're not fixing the water infrastructure, the whole thing, and we've got the money to
yes,
do it, certainly, if we've got money to send away for war to kill black and brown people, we
I got
certainly,
one better. If we have money to send relief or or funding to help a war in another country, that we're not a part of that war. It's between two countries that
water
are in
infrastructure.
Europe. We have money for our own infrastructure. And
That's
it's so
right.
funny because I remember when I was young, my grandmother used to quote the Bible a lot. And one thing she always said in the Bible is that, it's nothing wrong with helping others, but you take care of home first. If you
Mhm.
don't have your house in order, you can't go get someone else's house in order. And the United States seems like they're focused on getting their nose in everybody else's business, helping assist, which I'm not
We're in
saying that they
the
don't deserve assistance, other countries, and not taking care of your own people correctly.
there's been this huge push to defund the Pentagon. Like we've been seeing it all over social media. Campaigns are popping up. There's a reason for that because there's so much resources that just kill the planet when we could be putting resources in to making the planet better. And I mean, we
It's
don't want oil
it's
infrastructure, but
true.
we want water infrastructure, doggone it. And we deserve it
It's
and we have
true.
to have it.
And I remember, and this was years ago, so with inflation, I'm sure it's more. I remember researching, and it said you could take eighth, 1/8 of the war economy and eradicate hunger across the world.
That's what I'm
You could
saying.
take
You
an
have to have the
eighth
will
of
to
the
do it.
of eighth of the money and ensure that everyone has decent housing to stay in.
Right.
That's an
And water
eighth,
infrastructure is the
an
same. Yeah.
eighth, probably even less.
Yeah. It's just, I
And
mean,
it's just
it's another thing that we're going to have to fight for. It is.
and it's sad
That folks
because
are
I
going to
was
have to come
looking,
together on.
yeah, as I was looking to see what our federal government, if they had any updates on what they were doing as far as big water projects and how they were advancing, I found an article that said the federal government advances big water projects. And I'm like, oh great. It's awesome. They're willing to do something. And then I got to the subtitle. And the subtitle said, Congress focuses on flood protection and disaster recovery. That's their focus with infrastructure.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying
It's
that
so
that's not
narrow. I
needed.
mean, that's important, but that's a
It's
very
it,
narrow,
it's, it's important, but it's not the
like this
end
isn't
all
the
to
problem.
be all.
No.
You can't
No.
with water particularly, I feel, because it is a basic necessity, that there's not only, it crosses barriers, it crosses races, it crosses sexual orientation, it crosses financial, you know, uh status, it crosses actual,
Well, even rich people want water infrastructure. It doesn't even matter what side
yeah.
of the on
But
the
I'm
aisle you
saying, like,
are.
water,
We all can agree we want water infrastructure.
when I say water is the end all to be all, it crosses species.
It does.
Plants need water,
Yeah,
animals need
everybody needs water.
water,
Right.
humans need water, you
Mm,
know,
yeah.
the fish need water, everything needs water. And the thing is to say that, when you realize the bigger, broader picture is that every living being or living thing needs water, and then your focus is mainly on disaster recovery and
Yeah,
um
it's just too narrow of a
it's too narrow. It's too narrow.
of a thought
And there's
process. It
no mention
doesn't
into
serve.
how, and don't get me wrong, Detroit has had a lot of issues with flooding,
Yeah.
and
No,
that infrastructure
it's
needs to be
important. It's just
fixed.
a part of a bigger story, right? A part of a bigger
Yeah,
picture that,
it's
that
important, but
they're zoning in on, and it's
it
not.
should not be what you're focused on.
Yeah, no.
You should be focused on infrastructure
Pulling up them
replacement
rotten
for
pipes.
all
Pull up the
water
rotten pipes.
issues.
Yes, pull up
Yes,
all the rotten
that
pipes
would
and
be.
start replacing
But
it. It's
here's the
gonna take a
thing:
minute.
what's so funny about that is, I don't claim to be an expert. I'm not an engineer, but I would think that if you replaced all the rotten pipes in the city, that probably will help with the flooding as well. Because I'm pretty sure the fact that those pipes are old has something
They're
to
not
do with
draining right, the
all the
whole nine
flooding that
yards.
happened.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a really
And
good
it's
point.
just shocking. It was so shocking to hear that like to see that subtitle, and it's like the way they put the subtitle up there, most people would have scrolled right past it and went on to the article.
It
But I
wasn't
was
good
just like,
clickbait.
yeah, it wasn't. And it's like they're talking about this, and ironically, regardless of where water is needed, when people, we have to face fact, when people immediately hear about large amounts of water, they think fresh water, particularly, they automatically go Michigan, the
Mhm.
Great Lakes.
Right.
That's the first thing that comes up.
The Great
And
Lakes
to
are
think
sacred.
that, like, they are, and that's a thing that I think, how can I say this? Our colonizers didn't understand when they
How
came
precious it was.
and founded this entire state and
Yeah.
city.
Or they did
It's like they
understand,
did not think about
and
that.
they were willing to annihilate all the people here to get it and keep it. They
Exactly,
did understand.
exactly.
Probably pretty intentional,
And it's
you know?
and the thing
Well,
is that they're talking about providing like key provisions for disaster recovery. They're
mhm.
willing to call in the Army Corps engineers to do work on projects to prevent flood, to provide flood protection, but
That is
there's
probably
no
good
mention. But there's no mention.
of
And
mass
here's the
water
thing,
infrastructure projects.
and this is what really shocked me about reading the article, is they talked about the two bills that address this, right?
Mhm.
They're 8,000 pages long, and there's no mention of lead service lines anywhere.
Oh my God.
What the hell? You
Not
got
8,000. Well, that's why
16,000
nobody knows.
pages of,
Nobody's gonna, there's got to be a short
nobody's
synopsis.
going to read 8,000 pages and
No.
then two
Not
documents
maybe
at
an engineer,
16,000 pages.
right?
I don't want to read a book that's 16,000 pages long, and I love
No.
to read. But the thing is that you telling me out of 16,000 pages where you're talking about infrastructure repair, there's no mention of removal of lead service lines. There's no mention of fixing pipes that are damaged.
Not
Like,
just
I can
service
attest
lines,
to
but
that now.
everybody. The whole infrastructure needs to be fixed.
Yeah,
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 this I'm no
definitely.
engineer either, but I can tell you that it worked better. And we probably, and you could, as you were fixing it, you put in flood protections, right? Like you could
You
do
would
things.
think,
You got to have the will. You got to have the will to do it. You got to get started on it,
you
which
would
is why we
think he
wanted
would
to
put
talk
in the
about it
flood
today.
protectors. while you're fixing the pipes.
Mhm.
And the thing is that like most people, the average citizen probably wouldn't even find this information
No.
because they
No, they wouldn't.
wouldn't know where to look. And definitely, if they find a bill, they're not gonna read it because it's like 16,000 pages,
Yeah. No, I
literally.
never read the whole bill anyway. I literally just read the short synopsis that somebody
Yeah,
put
like what?
together.
How does this apply to me?
Right. No, they're not. They're too big. They're too long. And
And
yeah,
the thing
it's a lot
is
of legal
that
jargon.
even if somebody did read it, they would think that this is all the kind of this is all the stuff that people like us, our organization, and other organizations across the country and in across Michigan are working on. Because the first line
Well, we
is the
are.
first thing they say is like
We've got a 32 bill
water
package.
right. They're talking about water sector advocates are confounded by how some infrastructure funds are being allocated.
Yeah, of course we're going to question it. Of
What
course we want
water
to know.
what water sector advocates has the government talked to? That's what I
Right.
would like to know.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know,
Well, we do show up. Our organizations show up to all the EPA and
they
all the
do,
stuff.
but they don't usually let us speak,
And that's
know.
true. It's true. But we do show up. They see our face. Um,
Then
I
they had the
wanted to
audacity,
talk.
and I know it wasn't us because they said that the advocates were pleased with what the bill contained. That's definitely not us.
No, definitely not us. We want more. We want it all. We want equity
We
for
do.
everybody.
We
Clean,
deserve it
affordable
all,
water for
though.
everybody.
We
Speaking
deserve
of
it
clean,
all.
affordable water for everybody and wanting it all,
Yes,
um,
yes.
let's talk about the Lifeline plan. So we had a really important meeting last night with a young lady from Wayne Metro, and they have pretty much
Yes, Miss
met.
Jasmine Carson.
Yeah, they pretty much met all of our demands. The demands that we were, saying that, hey, if this doesn't delete debt, it's not going to be helpful to people. It's got to delete debt. They have met that and said that if you sign up for the water affordability plan, the Lifeline water affordability plan here in Detroit, they're going to delete your debt. Now, that was for me and my family and my community. That's big. That's going to
Yeah,
save so many people's lives. It's worth it in that, just for that alone to sign up. But they actually gave us a lot of other demands that we were saying, hey, you don't have the infrastructure. Since it started, you don't have the infrastructure to get everybody signed up. So they hired a whole bunch of new staff, right, to get people signed up. So if you're everybody, we're telling people now to go sign up. We might not have been before because they hadn't met all of our demands, but they have met about 99% of them. I know that you're skeptical and I want to hear that, but also let me point one more thing out. You don't have to have a social security number to sign up for it, which is going to help a lot of people who don't have documentation for whatever reason, be able
hmm
to sign up. Super, super important. That was one of our big demands, to make sure that, everybody, it was equitable and everybody could sign up. So those were there. I mean, we've been working for this for years. I I know that
yeah.
it gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. I know that you have some questions though. Let's
It's not
analyze
so
them.
much that I have questions. I'm very leery
Concerned.
because I've been, and even though it was a very tough thing for me, I will say I've been blessed to be on both sides of the situation. I've been in the situation where I've had my water shut off, and I've also been able to be an advocate
That's right.
as well. So it let me see both sides of it, and I've went through the issue. Like I did say on the call yesterday, like I wish they would have had that when I was going through this because I had to file bankruptcy to clear my water debt,
Yeah, the
and
amount
now
of debt
I
just
it has
ruins people's lives.
it ruined my life. I and people think I'm joking because I speak about this in different venues. And like I told people, like I'll never probably be able to purchase a house
Yeah.
because when they pull that up, my credit's gonna be shot.
Yeah.
It prevents me from doing things like going to a dealership and buying a brand new car.
Right.
Because if I do get access to this, my down payment is gonna be so incredibly high
Because of the
because I
debt, the
have this
past
bad
debt.
credit,
Yeah.
and then the thing is that this was not actually even a debt that I created.
Right.
which we've went down that path about my story before. I
Right.
didn't even create the debt, but I'm saddled with it. So
Right.
the fact that people can have their debt completely cleared, that's
Yeah.
one less thing off their shoulders that they don't have to stress about. So I did find that good. I also like the fact that they increased uh the number
Household
of
numbers.
gallons for the household number, because they
Yes.
realize that we are right
That
when
was
we
another
said
demand. We
that
were
a
like,
lot of
look,
homes
yeah,
don't have 2 or 3 people in it.
yeah,
A lot
no, they
have
got
more than
two or
that
three
in it.
families in it, right? Because there's a
Yes,
housing crisis. So them being able to, yeah, we got what we asked for. It's not going to be
for the most
perfect, and I'm
part.
sure that we're going to have to consistently advocate for folks.
We
And
have
I'm
to
sure that
stay
we're
on
going to,
our foot on their necks. We're gonna have to keep our
yes,
foot on their
yes,
neck,
yeah. And they're not the
because I
trusted
did
people in the
have,
room, so I understand people not wanting to sign up. But right now, if
yeah,
you've got any kind of water debt, you should sign up. They have hired new
especially
staff
if
so that
you
you can do
think,
it.
especially, and I want to say this again because I know a lot of people don't be on social media, or so I know people that don't, they're like, I don't even watch the news.
Right.
We have to let you know that, like, it's vitally important if you are water insecure or have had issues paying your bill and have an overdue balance, particularly because the moratorium has been lifted and shutoffs are slated to start at any time. DWSD, we were in a meeting with them, and the president of the water commissioner said that if a person was not enrolled in the Lifeline plan, the shutoffs will be starting, and they will be starting now.
Mhm.
So I don't want any of my fellow residents to be at risk.
Yeah,
So if
we want people to sign up, and we want their debt to be deleted. We know that it's going to be
yes,
important for
we want
families
your
and
debt to be
communities.
deleted. And I let me handle the reservations that I have. I mean, of
Yeah.
course, I'm concerned because
Well, I thought it was important to
there
talk
is.
about it just because, it's important to talk about the fact that
I'm
they aren't the
still
trusted people in the
concerned
room.
about the fact that they are not sure if this is going to be a long-term program or not.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like they're telling, when I say they, I'm speaking of the city of Detroit, and DWSD is giving Wayne Metro one version to
Hmm.
say when they're saying something entirely different.
Well,
Because as you know
that's
on the
another reason we're
call,
going to have to. Yeah. Yeah.
on the call, the young lady said, well, they said this is going to be in place for now
Yeah.
until they get more of a statewide basic
Yeah, that
program.
was another
But
thing
at
that
the
came
same,
out from the call that they're looking at.
yes,
And I know we only got a couple minutes, so I'm gonna say it really, really quick so that we can tell people about World Water Day and wrap it up and now hold them. But that was another thing on the call, right? She said that they're working on a whole statewide water affordability plan. And that's
yeah,
really, really big news. What happens in Detroit goes everywhere. We're always the
absolutely.
it's
We
like
are ground zero. We're
yes,
ground zero. But I
always.
will say
Very,
this
very
right
proud of
quick,
it.
so we can move on to World Water Day. Well, what bothered me about that is that they're telling her that, but I'm hearing at DWSD meetings, literally, like, you know, they
Yeah, we're
don't
gonna
have,
hold their
they
foot
have
to the fire.
they said they have money for maybe like 2 years of this program, and
Yeah.
it's a pilot program.
Mhm.
So is it a pilot program, or is it going to be long term?
Yeah.
We need to
That's what we
know,
gotta fight
because
for.
these residents deserve to have stability.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
knowing that this plan is going to be around for a while, or you can transition into a state program, allows a person that peace of mind. And I know that firsthand. To
Yeah.
have that peace of mind is everything.
It is. It is. Water insecurity is trauma. It's terrible
It is.
trauma.
It is trauma, and it continues. Like, I personally do believe that my family has PTSD.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 2 minutes to wrap it up.
Okay.
Tell them about
So,
World Water Day. Tell
so
them how to get registered.
people,
Get ready for World Water
water is
Day.
life. Water is life. Water is People's Water Board Coalition. It's in the
That's right.
name. And on March 22nd, World Water Day will be upon us again. This is a yearly event, and we want people to come out in droves. We're going to have a
We
great
need to
time.
come out together. Yes.
We need people to come out because we need the faces of the community to be seen. We are
That's
going
right.
to be in Lansing. We're going to talk to legislators. We're going to let our faces be known and let them know that we stand for water equity and
That's
that
right.
we stand for clean, accessible, affordable, safe drinking water and sanitation for everyone,
That's right.
not
And
just
it's
those
going to
that
take
can
all of
afford
us to
it.
do it. It's going to take all
It's
of us to
going to
do it.
take all of us. It
So if you
is.
look in the
So we're
comment
going to
section down
have
below,
the
yeah,
registration link is going to be in the comment section. If you don't have transportation, we are having vans that will pick up from
buses.
Detroit and from Flint.
Yep.
If you have a car and you are able to drive there and you want to carpool or you're going to drive yourself, they are offering gas vouchers as well.
Yep.
But we need you to
It's all in the
register.
registration. Yep.
It's all in the registration form. The link will be below. You can get a snazzy T-shirt out of it. I might be a little impartial to it since my
When
daughter
I'm real.
designed the T-shirt, but it's
Yes.
a
Yes.
great
Thank you,
T-shirt.
Kaylani Jones, for making our World Water Day
Yes,
t-shirt. World
yes,
Water Day
thank you,
2023.
Kehlani. And it's a lasting image and reminder that
That's
you
right.
took a stance to fight
That's right.
for water that is clean and accessible for all and
That's
affordable
right.
for all. So
That's
I
just a
really,
perfect,
really want to
yes.
drive you there. If you can't make it, tell a friend. And if you're coming, bring two other people with you at least.
At least
At the
share it.
least.
Share it.
I don't know. You might have a hatchback. Bring two other people with you. If you can fit five in your car, bring five with you. If
That's
you
right.
got a van, bring the whole neighborhood.
Yeah. Numbers
And
matter at this moment.
yes, bring your kids, bring your grandmother, bring your
There's going to be
aunts,
kids'
bring your
activities,
uncles.
lunch.
We're going to have activities. We're going to provide lunch. We're going to have snacks. We're going to have a good time. And it's for something that no one can deny affects everyone.
Water.
So we want you to understand that we really need your support on this.
That's a perfect way to end it. My friends, thank you for tuning in today. Even though the last couple of weeks have been a little wonky, please
Yes,
stay
it
with us
has.
on this. And we're hoping to have things go smoother from here on out. So, really try to take care of each other. If you can, go look out for the East Palestine residents and,
Yes.
um, yeah, try to stay afloat. Bye.
Bye.